Yes, sir. Run Pure Sports has you covered with the NFL slate today. Hall of Fame game showdown slate over on DraftKings. No MLB or not much going on in the MLB streets, but we got you covered with football. 3-man booth here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on this video here. And I got two of the best. Honestly, Rubio Dimes, when it comes to anything niche, sport-wise, is the man. The dude covers literally everything when it comes to really the stuff that I don't want to deal with. WNBA, Summer League, F1, NASCAR. I mean, Rubio, you're a man of many talents, I will say, when it comes to this stuff. You smashed Summer League. I know the prize pools weren't great, but I know you're pumped about smashing not just the Hall of Fame game, but NFL preseason, which we're going to have you covered for the entire preseason over at Run Pure Sports.
Absolutely. This is the one thing, too, that Bruce beat me out in Summer League. He had a 5K hit. I only had, I think I had two 2K hits and one 1K hit, Bruce, and you beat me out. You know, I have to give you credit there. We grinded Summer League. We obviously had help from Boynton, Gavin, and Kurt as well in the background there. And then for preseason, though, Bruce and I have absolutely put our minds together and grinded here, and we're ready for this. I mean, I think this is the most excited for a preseason I have been. As far as content-wise, as far as, just getting behind, getting dirty, basically, kind of getting your hands in the dirt and projections, I'm very confident in. I think this will be a great time. And, Bruce and I, we love to cover the niche sports. And, we got college football less than a month away, too. So it's going to be a great time here.
And if you don't know, this handsome gentleman below, which the chat all loves apparently because everyone is saying Bruce right now in this chat. It's just amazing. Bruce is very loved over at Run Pure Sports, and he handles, well, a lot of different things, but he is the main guy behind the college football projections. And the guy literally knows everything about pretty much all the guys that are going to be playing in this Hall of Fame game. And the majority of the preseason snaps, you're going to have a lot of late round rookies, undrafted guys. But Bruce, you've been covering them all for years now with the college football stuff. You do our projections for college football over at Run Pure Sports, and you're going to be doing them for the preseason. So talk about that a little bit. And I know you're pumped because you love this stuff as well.
Yeah, very pumped. It always makes me happy to see some of these, these undrafted free agents that a lot of people don't know, and hopefully I can provide some insight. And by the way, y'all are all too kind. I have such a great time, with all these niche sports, especially NBA preseason and now NFL preseason. It's it's such a great time. I just appreciate y'all letting me participate in this thing. I love it. It's my favorite. Hopefully we can get pumped up like old Dan Campbell and bite some kneecaps here and get ready to go for this opening game.
I wanted to leave.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna run through a wall when Bruce gives me that 1% owned guy that no one else is on that just smashes. I can't wait. I might have to tape a video of me actually running through a wall if it happens and I ship a showdown slate, because I will be very pumped. And Bruce has done it many times on these shows, so I can't wait for the low-owned gem that Bruce is going to give out. Also, too, it is funny how, Bruce won more than Rubio in NBA Summer League, but, even though I saw the screenshot, I retweeted it, I think I congratulated him on Twitter and everything, but, you would never know that because he won't even ever talk about the fact that he wins, too. He'll just, talk about other people. So that's the kind of guy Bruce is. He wants other people to win. He won't even talk about himself. So,
you forgot
Rubio, that's our job.
You forgot to mention just 2 preseasons ago off the back of Jake Bobo, 50K in the preseason. Ethan Rourke and Jake Bobo carrying him to 50K. Was that the Rourke slate, Bruce? No one played Rourke. And you were loving him.
Rourke and a Minnesota tight end. I can't remember his name. Nick Muse, I think.
Oh,
nobody played him. He was unowned, and it was.
This is what I'm talking about. I totally blanked that he won 50K 2 years ago in preseason. This is, and you won't even. Yeah, I mean, so listen to Bruce is what we're trying to tell you right now. Listen to Bruce when he talks about these long guys, and hopefully one of us can hit 50K on DraftKings because they got another big one, 200K prize pool. I think it's a $15 entry. I don't know if it's filled yet. I haven't looked. It's not filled yet, Rubio. Okay, but 50K to first. So if you're intrigued, if you're playing Showdown tonight, which I assume most of you watching are playing, check that out over on DraftKings, $15 to enter. And like I said before, Run Pure Sports, we're going to have you covered the entire preseason. We're going to have packages coming out. I'm hoping tomorrow or the next day we'll have the packages out. And it'll be a very good deal for the preseason. You'll pretty much get the preseason for free if you sign up for the annual price. And, you'll get all of football plus preseason free. Whereas, other sites, you're going to have to pay for the preseason. We're not going to make you do that here. You'll get the preseason free if you take that annual package for football this year. So check us out at Run Pure Sports. And hopefully, like I said, that package will be up. But we do have the content up, Rubio. We got the little playbook here right now. We're going to go through some of the content as we talk through the Showdown slate. But Rubio, talk about the playbook real quick, what this entails for someone who's never signed up before. What do we have going on?
Yeah, so we basically kind of just went in and kind of redid everything we do for preseason, right? You still got your classic core plays and, playbook and stuff, but we also added some stuff as well that we'll get to here in a second. But for the playbook, basically for Showdown, for classic slate, it's going to look a little different, right? You're not going to have everybody in play, right, in one game. But we wanted to kind of highlight the top plays, right? Everyone knows who you're going to play in the Showdown slate, right? You just look at it. The top plays where Trey Lance is going to play a half plus a drive. You got Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen are going to split the difference at QB for the Lions. And then DJ Uiagalelei is going to, play similar to Lance, except, minus one drive, right? The kickers are the only kickers in play. And the defenses, everyone says you got to play the defenses in the Hall of Fame game. Those are the cash options. I'm not creating any type of world where, those guys aren't the best plays because, look, at the end of the day, 3, maybe 4 of those guys could be optimal, and we might not see anyone below them really make too much noise. So it's all about getting the playing time. And, one thing, JSU, that I really wanted to mention is if you look at, previous optimals, right? Like, hey, what happened in the Hall of Fame game, 4, 5, 6 years ago and stuff? The problem with that is situations are different all the time, right? So when running backs are optimal at a very high clip in the Hall of Fame game, it's easy to see, I want running backs. And then you look at it, you kind of peel back the layers. Well, 5 running backs for each team tonight, right, Bruce? Like, you got 5 running backs, and it's tough to justify more than one running back from either team, and let alone a running back in your lineup if you're only playing 1 to 3 lineups. So I just wanted to throw caution into the wind for anyone saying running backs are usually optimal here. Yes, usually we might only have 3 or 4 running backs per team, where you could at least guarantee me a quarter plus 1, plus a little bit more. And that won't be the case tonight. You might even see less than a quarter for most guys. So, yeah, the playbook, we got our rankings up top too. For cash, if you got really different and you're playing anyone below those guys, good luck. I don't anticipate many of the sharp cash players having anyone outside of that pool of 8. And then we have our rankings overall for basically the position player rankings, but wide receivers are thin tonight for both teams. So could lead to some good results. And I'm sure Bruce can talk a lot more about them too.
Yeah. And Bruce, he was just touching on it, but I went through the last, I think 8 games of Hall of Fame games and stuff like that. And he was talking about the amount of running backs that are in play for each team, got 4 or 5. And, I looked through all the rushing attempts and stuff like that. The most we've seen is 37 once, but 33, 30, 28. And that's divided between 4 guys, maybe 5 in some spots. So, whereas the passing attempts, I'm looking at it some games, teams are throwing 50 times or 48 times, mid 40s. So I don't know what you do with that information. I do feel like a lot of people like to lean heavier on the running backs because they're maybe safer with the floor. But the receivers is really where you get the tournament winning upside, I feel like, in these games.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at we'll get into the positions here in a little bit, but if you look at running back for the Chargers, they have quite a few guys there. Running back for the Lions, I mean, depending on what Baki is doing, if he's injured or not, we could get 4 guys there. So, it's kind of a numbers game as well when weighing that. So, once we get into that, we'll we can give some information there too. So it's all about playing time and opportunity here in the preseason. So always looking at that.
Yep. Yeah. News is very important. Just like you said, playing time, opportunity is key. How do you know that? It's the news. They'll literally report on it. And Rubio, we have something here that you and Bruce, or I think it was mainly Bruce, it was probably Bruce's idea. You piggybacked off of it, but Bruce, executed it. And it's on this NFL Showdown tab. If you pull it down, you'll see Hall of Fame game insights, Rubio. I'm going to pull this up real quick, and you can just explain, or Bruce, you can explain it because you're the one that set it up. So, I mean, you should be the one that actually explains it. What are you getting when you click on this tab?
So it's just all the news. We're pulling it from Twitter and various other sources. It's kind of rough sometimes. Some of these beats kind of tweet things about their lunch or what they ate for dinner or whatever. We're trying to filter that stuff out as well. But it's just info from the practices. Anything they see during the week. Got all that information there. So kind of put it next to the players' names to make it easy for you. If we need to add anything manually, we've been adding it. They're in yellow, so hopefully that's helpful as well.
Perfect. And I was just going to ask, the yellow is the manual notes normally on the playbook, Rubio, right? But we figured, since this sheet's going to have pretty much all the news, might as well just add the notes to this sheet instead for the people wondering.
Yeah, exactly. If you're wanting to get a take on Trey Lance, right, and you see obviously we got the news that Harbaugh said in his press conference, it's the first half plus a drive is what he specifically said. And then DJU will play the rest. And then you kind of just have it on the side. Like, for those who don't know, Trey Lance is a fantasy monster, and he's a monster for both teams because he'll throw a pick six and get the ball back right away. That's perfect for DFS. JS, if you scroll through it too, like we got it for almost all these players and stuff too, but kind of wanted to highlight, what are you looking at, right? Your kickers and defenses won't have many notes, but what we can expect overall, like Smith Lambert. So if you look at, or Lambert Smith, if you look at him, he's got the best props. So if you look at like underdog pick six or whatever and stuff, his props are like 31.5, 32.5 yards, and it just kind of pops off the page. And to me, like, you look at Trey Harris, his props are like 13.5, 12.5. And if you were just kind of like looking at that, they were mentioned in the same sentence. This is why I like those notes, Bruce, is that right next to Lambert Smith's name, you got Harbaugh, talking about how more people watch this in the finals or World Series, right? That was funny because Lambert Smith had his own press conference. But also Harbaugh said in the same sentence that like Lambert Smith, Harris, Darius Davis, and Hampton will play. I don't see Lambert Smith like getting a ton more playing time than Harris. I know that he has been great in training camp stuff, but we do want to throw caution into the wind. I think, you mentioned to JSU, like, hey, any like leans on unders or overs. I like the wide receiver position tonight, but if you're going to hang 32.5 on anyone, I'm going to lean toward the under a little bit. And I also lean toward the over on Trey Harris at like 12.5 and 13.5, because I think the sweet spot is probably 20, but I think they play these exact same amount. And their gap is 18 yards. So that's just like kind of a little note that I kind of made, but I noticed from doing these, they're in the same sentence, usually it wouldn't be anything different than that, but there's also a chance they only play a quarter. Bruce, that thins down that wide receiver room a ton.
Yeah. And you brought up the total, Rubio, and you said 32.5. It did, I think, open, or was there this morning at 32.5 on DraftKings. I'm looking on DK Sportsbook right now. The line's still 1.5. Lions are favored, but the total moved up a point. It's 33.5 now. And I'm pretty sure I went through all these games, and the 32.5 number, I think it went over like 5 or 6 of the last 8 or 9 games or whatever it was. But you just said if you're giving me 32, I assume that means if I'm giving you 33.5, you're taking the under.
I was talking about Lambert Smith's receiving prop.
Oh, you're talking about the receiving
prop.
I
can see how that could get lost in translation a little bit.
Well, it was the exact number that it opened up at, so I didn't hear you say that. But I am going to ask you about the total because I wanted to get your takes before we get into player takes, because you already jumped the gun a little bit there. What is your take on the total and the side of this game?
Yeah, I mean, look, these games haven't been pretty in the past for the Chargers. So one thing that I did too, like I went in and I looked at pace for preseason because these are the same coaching staffs, and this also applied to the projections and stuff too. But the Detroit Lions pace is actually pretty high. I think they averaged around 73 offensive snaps a game. To put that in perspective, the Chargers averaged around 57. That's a pretty wide gap. That's about 16 snaps. So you kind of have, not a huge sample for Harbaugh in the preseason, most recent times, right? Like he was out of the game at Michigan, and I don't want to use stuff from 10 years ago or whatever, but you do have a little bit of contrasting stuff where I look at potentially this game going over JSU just because the Lions do drive a pace, and I do like the offensive talent that we have overall. With everything kind of around it, I think I'm leaning toward the over, and with the fact that it's moving toward the over, you kind of want to get in now because I could see it rising another half point with how volatile the preseason markets are.
Yeah, I did like the over this morning. I also like this comment. I don't know how I missed it, but Rubio celebrates with a Capri Sun in the shower. Bruce, what do you think? Yay or nay on that? I'm going with yes. I think he does celebrate with the Capri Sun in the shower. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in. Yep. You gotta put the straw on the bottom though.
Oh,
mix it up just a little bit. Yeah.
That's a hot take from Bruce right there. Hopefully a few more coming down the line. But Bruce, get your quick thoughts here. Just if you have any on the total or the line here. Lions 1.5 favorites and 33.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, I'm loving that we're getting pace numbers from last year from Rubio.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. I kind of like the over here. The quarterbacks are good in this game. I mean, Kyle Allen has NFL experience. Hendon Hooker was great in college, and can break long runs. DJU is probably like the only one that's really terrible. I just looked at his prop. His passing prop is at 62.5.
I'm ashamed, Bruce. I hit the over on that.
Oh yeah, that would be really tough for me to click higher. But like he's the only like weak link. The quarterbacks are really good here. So even though Harbaugh likes to go slow, I still like the offenses here.
All right. Love that. We got this guy, Big T. Don't know who he is, but he fucking loves Capri Suns. That's not a shocker to anybody in this show watching here. So we're going to dive into this slate. Before we get into it, hit the like button on this show. This is a free show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, because we're going to have more shows for preseason. All right. And you want to get notified right when we go live. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. And join us at Run Pure Sports. Right now, we still have that promo code JBC 100K win. So if you want a free week on top of the month, you can get a free week. You just use that code JBC 100K win. It works for any monthly package. So any monthly package, just sign up, use that code, just like it sounds, JBC 100K win, gets you a free week. You can join us in the Discord, because the Discord has a lot of great benefits. The news hits you right away, right when we get it. It doesn't just hit that page that Rubio was talking about, but also in the Discord, people are talking through the slates at all hours of the day in all sports too, not just football, baseball, MMA when it's on, golf. They're talking golf all throughout the day. Get in now, join the Discord. It's one of the best Discords by far in the community right now, one of the best communities you'll see in DFS. So check us out. JBC 100K win works on any monthly package here. Rubio, let's dive into this slate, and we'll start with you. We're going to go position by position, because even though Big T's not on the show, that's the way he always goes. And I remember that because I used to have to ask him before every show what you want to do. Now I just don't even ask. I know that's the way to go. So Rubio, starting with the quarterbacks. You already touched on Trey Lance, but if you want to elaborate, you can, and then keep going.
If you want, JSU, hit the projections tab as well. And we'll go ahead and go through position by position this way. And because if you look at it, I got it already kind of set up this way, kind of similar to, how you see it on ESPN or whatever too. But like basically draft capital, whatever, Raheem Sanders could be ahead of Naheem Hines for whatever. But I want to say this right now, like Trey Lance and DJ Uiagalelei, Lance is number one by a landslide at the quarterback position, right? And especially if you're getting the most playing time tonight, most likely. There is a chance that if you look at last year's data too, Nate Sudfeld outsnapped Hendon Hooker 71 to 29% last year in the preseason opener. I don't want to rule out that possibly being the same thing again, but it does sound like it is a battle for the QB2 position. I do expect it to be a clean 50-50 split, but it's Lance for me, Hooker second. Hooker actually had a really good preseason last year overall. Like his fantasy performance was really, really solid. And it was up there to where, like, if you really wanted to quantify it down to like fantasy points to drive, fantasy points to snap and stuff, he was actually on the higher end of anyone. And that includes like if you really want to stretch it to like regular season and stuff. That's why Hooker and Lance do project so well, is because they're also able to get stuff done with their legs, but they also have already played well in the preseason in the past. And we know kind of what to expect overall when they actually get the work. I think if I had to rank them, it's Lance, Hooker, Allen, and DJU. Is the possibility that you go three quarterbacks in one lineup there? I think it is, Bruce. I think it would be bold, but how many people are going to be jamming in Allen and Hooker together with, two Detroit Lions wide receivers? I don't think it's going to be too many of them. And that could be a way to kind of really get different tonight and just go for a full Lions bash.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce, what do you think of that? It's a way to get different. I will say that.
Yeah, with no salary constraints, it's a lot tougher to get different. But yeah, that could be a way to do it. The Lions QBs are just really good. The offense is solid, so I'm going to prioritize those two guys. And I like Kyle Allen a little bit as well. He's doesn't run as much, but he's pretty accurate with the football. I don't hate like playing two or three of these guys, because I mean those are your points there. Pretty good floor. Nice ceiling for those three guys. So I don't have a problem with it with any of those. I just probably won't play any DJU. I can't wait till he runs in 2 touchdowns. He's just, he just cannot throw. Has no idea where he's going with the football. So it's rough.
I didn't know that much about him, Bruce, but when I saw this comment from Christopher McDonald, I instantly was like, okay, 11-man goons, and he still can't do it. I won't play him. So I'm with you.
Yeah, he's right on with that comment. It's
all right. Anything else with the quarterbacks, boys, or do you want to move on to the running backs here, where we got some interesting? The rookies, especially Hampton's been hot in the best. I've been in the best ball streets a lot. Hampton's rising up boards. I don't know if the Hall of Fame game is the game where he's going to push it, but we got to touch on him. Kamani Vidal was a big talking point last year, but people were, high on him. What are we doing with him? I mean, Rubio, you're kind of shaking your head. Chargers running backs, it's normally a decent spot. Harbaugh likes to jam it up the middle. What are we doing here with the Chargers running backs?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Chargers here, and the Lions are below these guys too, so I separated it by team. So if we did want to talk about the Lions stuff, you could scroll down and see them if you are a member and stuff too. But when you look at the Chargers, the big thing to note, Najee Harris is one eye, right? That's pretty tough. But you also have 6 running backs here. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but isn't that crazy that like the Twitter sphere and like the news actually got it right for once? Like something that was like just gossip and it actually happened. Like that's just wild to me that it actually was correct that he injured his eye during like fireworks. I just thought that was wild.
I can't believe that happens as an NFL player, but like, obviously what that does, if you really wanted to break it down from a DFS standpoint, is it opens the door for a guy like Vidal, Kamani Vidal to, make the roster, right? Like he was not a guarantee to make this roster at all. I mean, when you're a running back 4, you got to contribute on special teams, and they love Jarrett Patterson. They got, Raheem Sanders, and Sanders obviously out of Arkansas, and they just signed Naheem Hines. Look, I think this is a true battle. I think Haskins is, Harbaugh's guy. He does everything pretty well, in terms of what Harbaugh wants. I think he gets down and dirty for them. And obviously he had a role in the regular season, a bigger role than even Vidal had. So I don't really know what to expect on a drive-to-drive basis, but I do think Hampton and Haskins are safer than most. Hampton obviously a lock to make the roster, but like Hampton should be able to get 1 to 2 drives. Is that enough? He is the most talented back on the slate. I'm kind of indifferent on it. I don't love him, but I'm not going to completely fade. Haskins, kind of in a similar boat, right? Like if I think he's going to make the roster, then it kind of becomes a 4-way split through about 2.5 quarters at best. And Hines might be the one who kind of gets left behind, where he doesn't play much at all unless it's a 2-minute drill in the last seconds, where because he's been a capable guy, but he's had some knee injuries in the past year too. We know what Nyheim Hines is. He's got to prove it on the football field again. But yeah, I mean, this is a gross position. And usually when you look at Hall of Fame games, running backs have done pretty well here. I don't like it when it's split up among 6 guys, though.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Like Nyheim Hines he strikes me as like special teams, Rubio. Like, I don't even know if he is going to get it. And they know, like, he's a 3rd down back at best. Like, at best, that's what he does. So I agree with you. My issue, Bruce, is kind of what Rubio was talking. They just got so many guys. I want to like a Chargers running back if you have a strong take on one. I would like to play one because I do think they could run the football a ton if they have, like, some decent sustained drives. You could see a lot of rushing attempts here. I just don't know who it is. Like maybe a Marion Hampton, just because 2 series might get it done.
Yeah, it's tough, man. If you count Trey Lance and DJU as running backs as well, I mean, you have quite a few guys that are going to get carries. If you look at last year, they had 5 guys get carries and no one scored. I think they lost like 16-3 or something like that when I looked earlier. So yeah, it's tough. I do like Vidal quite a bit, just because his receiving ability. Same with Sanders. Raheem Sanders can catch the football out of the backfield. So those 2 guys are solid. I think I'm going to stay away. Hampton is very talented, but man, if he's only going to get 2 drives, I might just stay away. But I think Vidal is probably my guy here. Patterson had a solid game last year in the first preseason game too, so I know they like him. Probably get those
Patterson does kind of set up as a preseason guy, right, Bruce?
Yeah, for sure, and he can catch the football too. I mean, he's not the best receiver, but last year in the game he had 1 catch for 4 yards. So yeah, I think Vidal, Patterson, Sanders are probably the guys I'd want to look at.
All right. I like it. Vidal. I can get behind a little Kamani Vidal if I got to play one. So I think it's a good idea to like bet against the Hampton 2 drives is probably the sharp move. Like in the way, just hoping he doesn't score in those 2 and then move on. But then we get to the receivers here for the Chargers. And Bruce, I'll just stay with you on the receivers. I mean, no Ladd, no QJ. But the guy who everyone's talking about is Lambert Smith, who I guess in camp he's just been making plays left and right, catching everything, big plays. Seems very confident too. When you hear him like talk, he seems very confident. Like balls near me, I'm catching everything. Like he seems like a guy that could do damage in the preseason here. Is the hype real? Is he legit? What do you think?
Yeah, he started off at Penn State, was pretty good there. They had some quarterback issues with getting him the football, and he moved on to Auburn. And last year he averaged about 20 yards per catch. So yeah, he's definitely a big play guy. Get up and get the football. He's only like 6'1", but he's fast and just can high point the football very well. So I think he's going to be pretty owned just because of that prop. I think it's over 30. So he's going to get a lot of attention. A guy that I kind of like is Jaquay Jackson. He's from Rutgers. Last year, I think he caught a touchdown for New England in the preseason, the first game, and then he tore his ACL, I believe. And he's really fast. He ended up at Rutgers because he didn't make the grades or something, and played there 1 year and just had a really solid year at Rutgers. So, you know, if you're catching the football and making plays at Rutgers, that's pretty good to begin with in the Big Ten. So I like him a little bit. Trey Harris as well, just because, I mean, he probably fits in the same boat with Marion Hampton, where he'll probably get a few drives or something. I don't know, but you know, he's a red zone threat, so he can catch a touchdown and come out of the game, and he's such a big play guy. Probably a good pivot off of Lambert Smith if you want one, just because his prop is about half of what Lambert Smith's is.
Yeah, Trey Harris seems like seems pretty solid, just all around, like real solid receiver. I could see that being a nice little pivot. Rubio, one guy that got like the opposite reviews of Lambert Smith was Brendan Rice, who he was getting bad reviews for his route running. I saw a video of him just completely just tanking a route. Fans kind of giving it to him too a little bit. But, you know, he's got, for the receivers anyways, he's close to Trey Harris and Lambert Smith. I mean, I assume you think he's going to play a decent amount, but what do you think about him? Because Bruce didn't talk about him at all.
Can you do me one last favor, JSU? Can you go to the 2024 snap counts page that we got up on the site? And I want people to look at Brendan Rice. All right, this is how buns he is. But I think he played 82% of the snaps in the first preseason game last year, and he scored 0 fantasy points in that time. People were still drafting him in best ball after QJ kept dropping the ball, but that should have been the first red flag. All right. And when you pull that up there, you'll see like Simi Fehoko also played a significant portion of snaps as well. Is it not going there, JSU? Is it not clicking?
I just clicked it, so
there it is.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
Wiley, where's the Prez at? Somebody call the Prez.
And then I also put it in there too. Why do these matter? I have it up on my page too. I can actually even share it a little bit for what it's worth if
we have to.
But yeah, like basically, why do these 2024 snap counts matter? Well, look.
He said John broke it. Oh God. See, when you're depressed, you can just say whatever you want, and it's facts. I mean, I can't even dispute it. I don't even know. It was working before we went on. Prez will fix it for us. But keep going. Keep going anyways, Rubio.
Anyway, why do those snaps matter, right? Well, it's because you could look at how Harbaugh, played these guys in the first game last season, how they kind of approached the running back position overall. I have my numbers up, but basically they had 3 running backs open the first preseason game last year, and they split them up. It was about 38, 36, 26% of the snaps. Now imagine that among 6 guys, right? You do it for wide receivers, though. It was actually a little bit tighter. And big thing to note here, too, look at the projections here, and you'll see that, Jalen Reagor, 0 projection, right? Oh, there it is. Perfect. Jalen Reagor and Luke Grimm both missed out in their most previous practice. That leads us to a lot less bodies in that wide receiver room. And we could have, 7 guys basically who could see the field at the wide receiver position. Great stuff there. And look, if you play 32, 33% of the snaps, and these were really slow-paced games for what it's worth, right? These were into the 50s of snaps for the QB position. A lot of that had to do with one thing: Easton Stick and Max Dugan sucked. I mean, yes. I don't think there's much you can go really past that. It's hard to not improve upon that position based on last year. But Rice had a ton of snaps last year, a ton of opportunity, and it was terrible. 0 fantasy points in week 1 and 2 in a combined 65 snaps. Why is he projecting well, JSU? Well, there's only 7 dudes, right? So I think if you were to eliminate Harris and Lambert Smith after the first quarter, potentially, right, if you're just doing hypotheticals and stuff, Brendan Rice is a second-year wide receiver. You'd hope it would make even a slight leap, and his playing time actually tops the chart for me overall because, he's like the third in line, right? He's not a guarantee to make the roster at all. And when you kind of just keep going down that list, most of these guys, Jaquay Jackson, I really like that, pivot that you mentioned, Bruce, where it's like you can get a more talented guy potentially for a lot less, no one's going to play Jaquay Jackson on the slate. Des Fitzpatrick hasn't played football since 2021, it feels. I mean, Reagor and Grimm are going to miss. You have a really good chance that one of these scrub wide receivers for the Chargers do hit. And Rice
Davis is more like a big play guy, but he's not like I mean, he could have a big play, like a random like one.
He's
play
going to
guy
be on the team likely, just for special teams
for
reasons.
special teams.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he is getting a ton of buzz for his wide receiver ability, right? This training camp, right? This happens all the time. Like they're probably saying the same shit about Josh Cribbs and Devin Hester, but like he's going to be a receiver this year. But there's a lot.
I mean, but he's fast. He can make big plays. I could see how in training camp he'd be a guy that like.
Yeah, he projects well. I mean, I got him for about 30% of the snaps. And again, it's because it's a thin room. He might want to showcase what he can do. I mean, look at it. I mean, he's wide receiver 5. He'll probably make the team because of the special team stuff too, Bruce. Like you mentioned, like, he's just an elite special teams guy, but he might want to showcase, maybe he gets 2 or 3 catches. And we all know the upside he can have. I mean, and showdown when he's like 200 and he's guaranteed a touch or 2 because they love to get him the ball in some space. His role will look a lot different tonight. They're not going to do that for him specifically, but I could see some downfield throws his way.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to listen to any of these shitters in the chat, especially Prez and Big T, or Anthony, as I call them. They're bullshit. Thank you. I appreciate that. Number 1 host. All right. Not the sharpest. That's Bruce. I am better looking than Rubio, though. I will say that. And number 1 host. So that's what matters at heart. I will just say that. I did want to shout out, though, our guy, Dallin, was giving Bruce and Rubio love. He said, jumping in late, but if you aren't subscribed to the site, do it. I've had 2.5-figure hits the last 2 preseasons. Bruce and Rubio are the GOATs. What did I tell you?
Respect on that. That's not 2.5. He had 2 5-figure hits.
Oh, my bad. My bad. 2 5-figure hits. That's even better.
I think I remember this. I remember the screenshot.
Yeah. Talon's awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. Now these are fighting words. These are fighting words here. Now we're gonna fight. You and me after the show out back. That's what we're doing. Hit the like button on the video. There's not enough likes on this video. Okay. There was like 40 the last time I checked. We got like 300, 250 people watching. Let's hit the like button here. Subscribe to this channel. Get you notified every time we go live. Rubio, anything else about this page real quick? This was something you guys added too.
So just do a quick scroll to the Lions side too, because I just wanted to show like the difference. But you look at like the snaps and stuff, and if you scroll down, you'll find all this stuff. It's like they had Sudfeld and Hooker last year, right? That's a big thing to note. But they also had 70 quarterback snaps. They had 77 the next week, 73 the next week. That's very contrasting to what the Chargers did. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Hooker could move the ball a lot more than Sudfeld could. But Sudfeld was terrible for fantasy too. Like JS, if you scroll all the way to the right, no, never mind, it's not on this page. But you just look at the fantasy points, basically Hooker was just an absolute beast. 12 points and 52% of the snaps. Sudfeld had a very similar ratio in week 2. And Hooker in week 3 had like 16 fantasy points and similar work. But look how they kind of manage these running back situations, right? Like people, why does 2024 data matter? It matters that the coaching staff is the same, because we can kind of look at how will they approach a position group, right? And with the tight end position, there's only 3 tonight. We could easily see 3 guys play 40% of the snaps at the tight end spot for both teams. Wide receiver wise, the Lions were a lot less ambitious in terms of how they approached the wide receiver slate, right? Like Rice and Fehoko both had 81 and 62% of the snaps or whatever. And with the Lions, that no one eclipsed over 40%. So again, food for thought. I thought it would be useful content for anyone who kind of wanted to see how previous teams approached preseason games. And this will be up for every single team eventually, especially when we get into the slates next week. And hopefully we might be able to get it to filter by team. So it's just, showing the teams that are currently on the slate. But again, it'll show how players did. Let's say you want to see how Hooker did last year too. You can see his fantasy points over snaps too, and kind of make your own justifications there for playing it.
Yep. And like you said, it'll be up for all the preseason slates. So we'll have this. This is just a few things you get when you join Rump Your Sports. Like I said, JBC 100K win gets you a free week if you sign up for any monthly package there. Check that out, and we'll go back to the projections page. Rubio, do you want to finish up? Well, we touched on the wide receivers for the Chargers, I think, enough, but anything else when it comes to the tight ends that you want to touch on?
I'll let Bruce talk about our guy from Syracuse, the big tight end there.
Oh, my favorite. That's Bruce's guy too?
Yeah,
I'm a
stud.
Gadsden guy, Bruce. I'm a Gadsden guy. I got like 25% right now in best ball, so I'm heavy.
Might be too little.
You think 25% bags on Gadsden are too little?
He's
Damn!
a
I gotta
stud,
step
man.
it up. I gotta step it up.
He just really has to work on his blocking and staying healthy for sure. I mean, his receiving is. I thought he's pretty close. I mean, him and the Bears, Loveland. But both those guys are just head and shoulders above the other guys as receivers. When you look at the Lions or the Chargers tight end room, they have like 4 guys that could get snaps, right? Rubio, is that
about
right?
Like, it's worth noting too, like Castles was a DNP, right? So like that kind of went from 5 to 4 for me in the projections. And if he doesn't play, I mean, Gadsden is really just, obviously he was a beast at Syracuse for fantasy football, but like he can line up anywhere. He could even line up plenty at wide receiver tonight if they're kind of checking versatility and what he could do. There is a path to 50% of the snaps, right? I think that's the most important thing. While with Fisk, we know what he is. He's not a receiving tight end. He's a blocker. He's a fullback, if anything. And then, the other 2 guys, I've never heard of them. I'll be honest. Steve-O, what a name.
And don't forget, the Chargers are one of those teams that use their tight ends heavily.
Yeah. Can I add to this, Bruce, real quick? Because
sure.
I wanted to kind of showcase why the projections matter a little bit. Last year, the Chargers used a tight end 1.27%, 1.27 times per snap. So basically, not like anything insane, but compared to the Lions, they were 1.38 times. So if you were expecting a tight end, 2 tight ends on the field, you actually see it more for the Lions, who only have 3 tight ends tonight, while the Chargers ran a little less. But obviously, things change year over year. But that was food for thought. I thought the same thing, JSU. But actually, the Lions could be a team where you could see inflated snaps for Zylstra.
So I meant like in the passing game. Like they're heavily used like in the passing game. I meant, but the Lions use more of the multiple tight end sense. They use more of they bring that 6th offensive lineman into a lot. I'm sure they're one of the highest teams when it comes to the extra offensive linemen. So that might play into it too a little bit. Because remember, was it Dan Moore? Who are they bringing? It was one of the Dan Skipper. I can't remember. It was like
number
their
69 is a big dude.
Yeah. I remember because he didn't report once and he was so pissed. I think he caught like a pass and he was so pissed he didn't get it. But they do that a lot. So that kind of makes sense. But all right, I got to draft more Rondé Gadsden in best ball, and I got to play him in my MVP spot. That's what I've been told today, or my captain spot. That's what I've been told today by Bruce and Rubio.
Yeah, like when you look at the tight end spot there, like Tucker Fisk is one of the other guys. He's like 6'4", 300. He's like a huge dude. And then another guy is Jordan Patea. He's like a rugby guy that came over from Australia. This is his first year playing professional football. So like, I mean, who else do they have? Steve-O, like you said. Yeah, and he was a blocker at Iowa State too. I think he caught like 10 balls his college career. So like, what do you think is like the most he could play, Bruce? Do you think he could play like for a majority of this game? Yeah, I think he could get 50% of the snaps. I don't know how much this Patea dude is going to play, because I mean, he's a smaller guy. I mean, he's probably a receiver type body, but I mean, I don't know how good he's going to be.
Is that a rugby guy? Rugby?
Yeah, he's a rugby player from Australia, which
not Aussie rules football.
No. I thought that as well. Rubio's definitely going to play this dude. Look at his face. Look at his face right now. He's definitely playing this dude. I can tell. He's like, football? Aussie? Ooh.
I didn't know if it was Aussie rules football. I mean, that's a completely different game. They sell out stadiums over there.
We can't see it, but that's a rugby shirt Rubio's got on right now. That's a rugby shirt.
God, bro, I'm looking at this stuff here. I'm saying it right now. There's no way that dude's going to put up a stat tonight. Come on.
Zero chance. What's up, my guy? Spaniard, welcome. Chargers defense and kicker. Last thing here. Yay, nay? Are we playing defenses, kickers? I know they're normally heavily owned, especially the defenses in these games. What are you doing, Rubio? Are you fading it with the ownership? Are you going to play some? How are you going about it?
The big thing to note is, like, you know, if you fade the defense, you're hoping for at least 20 points for whoever is going against them, right? 21's that magic number where they get like dinged down to 1 point, I think, right? Like, so you're hoping that they don't score a defensive touchdown, but they don't get like a bunch of sacks or whatever. The target score for the optimal is probably around 7. I would think you want 7+ from everyone in your lineup. The defenses are very capable of that. But again, if you see points in this game and you don't see a whole lot of turnovers, I think if there was a defense I lean, it would be the Lions, because we know Trey Lance has thrown multiple pick sixes in the preseason in the past and has been a little bit random, which, again, that's not bad for fantasy when you throw a pick six, because you just get the ball right back right away and it's not a huge deal, and you ended up chasing the game. While Hendon Hooker, who, not like a great quarterback by any means, neither is Kyle Allen, I expect them to take care of the ball more than DJU and Trey Lance. So I think the Chargers defense is fine. I think the Lions defense is better. I don't want to be a complete chalk donkey and just jam them both in and be like, here it is, unless it's cash games. Because in cash games, I think you do that. You don't take a risk on Isaac Tesla or Trey Harris or Lambert Smith. You just take the guaranteed points and hope that this game kind of just stays middling, or you get some sacks early on. But Dicker the kicker, hook him. God, it takes 150-yarder to be there. I'd rather have the kicker over the Chargers defense personally.
Yeah, Bruce, it sounds like you're in agreement with that.
Yeah, I love Dicker the kicker. He can hit from 60. So I think there's going to be some field goals here. Team stalling out in the red zone. So yeah, I agree. Also in agreement on the defense too. The Lions defense is much better than the Chargers defense, just because you get DJU and Trey Lance. That's like the perfect situation.
Yeah, I'm with you on who doesn't love playing Dicker the kicker. Definitely with it. Jay says Jacquie Jackson not on the playbook. I think I know why. Rubio Dimes, who did the playbook today?
Tony set it up. Big T set it up. I'm fixing that.
Big T. There you go.
Under the bus there. No. I'm adding him right
Rubio
now.
Dimes did, and that was Bruce's call. So I'm sure Rubio will just add him in there.
I'm adding him right now. I saw that right away. I was like, damn.
You gotta make sure you put like a tag like Bruce in parentheses, so people know like this is Bruce's play right here. 1% owned. And Chris is asking about Lions running backs. We're gonna get to the Lions right now as we're halfway through talking about these teams. Got through the Chargers. If you're just joining us now, we just did the Chargers team. Now we're going to talk about the Lions, going position by position. So we'll start at the quarterback position. Rubio, Jared Goff, no. So they got Hooker and Allen. Hendon Hooker's pretty good too, honestly. I think he's the quarterback play. I think he's pretty clearly the one you want here. Obviously, Trey Lance is probably your favorite, but I think he's definitely my second.
Yeah, you look at Hooker's stats last year, it was really, really good. I think the first game was slightly disappointing in terms of just fantasy points, but you have to look at it. He only played 29% of snaps. If you see 50%, you're going to be kind of looking at, a projection where 9 is probably the most, likely outcome or whatever, because that's what he was able to put up when he played a lot, right? He put 12 fantasy points up in his half that he had in the second game last year, and he can do it. He can do it both ways, right? Like, you can do it on the ground, you can do it through the air. I think that in this sense, so at the Pat McAfee show, I think Pat McAfee said that Kyle Allen is going to start. He had no reason to lie about that, right? But also he said he didn't know who would start for the Chargers when that was reported pretty regularly. But he said that according to sources, Kyle Allen and not Hendon Hooker is going to get start. Does that change anything for me? Maybe hurts Hooker just a tad because we saw what they did in week 1 last year. But I'm not really going to react to that. I'm going to assume it's a 50-50 split. Hopefully we get some news here in the next hour where maybe Dan Campbell says he'll get the second half, and that'll be that. But Kyle Allen with starting, and he's not a bad quarterback, right? Like, you get half play of a quarterback. We think that there's going to be points in this one. I like them both. Hooker would be my quarterback 2, though, and Allen would be my number 3 behind Lance.
All right, Bruce, first of all, what are you doing with Hooker and Allen? And then how are you ranking the quarterbacks in total with the charges included?
Yeah, I'll probably have Hooker on most of my teams. He runs the football so well. And Lance is definitely the better runner. So I'd put him one. I don't know how much they want to see DJU. Maybe just hoping he gets like the fourth quarter and that's it. But I'd go Lance, Hooker, and then Allen. But those three are all solid. The top two, obviously, a lot better. Have more upside for sure when it comes to running. But yeah, such a good quarterback slate for sure. Especially with the first preseason game of the year. I was looking up Kyle Allen, what he's been doing the last couple of years. Apparently, he was on the Steelers last year, which I'd forgotten. He had one pass, one completion to George Pickens for 19 yards. So, but he's always been an accurate guy. Texas A&M, Houston, those two colleges, and he was good there. So, yeah, I think it just boosts the receivers as well for the Lions, which we'll get to. They're pretty short in the receiving room as well. So, this Lions offense looks pretty good for DFS.
Yeah, and I will just say our guy AP loves hookers. So take that for what you want. I'll just throw that out there. And Bruce was like, hell yeah. So Bruce loves hookers as well. I mean, love that. There we go. And Chris, listen, you're not going to catch anyone with this shit on this show. We've got pros on this show. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about Bruce and Rubio, but nice try. Is 600 too much to leave on the table tonight? Question mark. Good try, Chris. I like the effort, though. I'll just throw that one out there. All right, so got the quarterbacks down. We got to get to the running backs, which other Chris in the chat really wanted to know which Lions running back do you guys prefer, if any. Bruce, I'll stay with you here. Which Lions running back do you prefer? Obviously, no Monty, no Gibbs, Craig Reynolds. I mean, we know Craig Reynolds, but anyone else that you're looking at?
So Rubio, have you heard anything on Sione Vaki yet? If he's going to play, I know he's.
So I read a Pride of Detroit thing yesterday, and it was talking about which players are most likely to sit, right? And it was just Gibbs and Montgomery, and they actually had Reynolds in, and then really didn't say anything about Vaki, but Vaki returned to practice, and he's not a guarantee to make this roster, right? Like if you were to look at it, but he's probably the most versatile in terms of special teams and everything around it. Like, he probably has the inside path running back for. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's in, Bruce, but if he were to get ruled out, right? Like let's just do this where Vaki's not in pads, right? Just a hypothetical there. It's 7:00. Vaki's not in pads. Reynolds won't play that much, right? I think that's the one thing that I can kind of come away with confidence is that Reynolds will not play more than 2 drives, right? That's the one thing I look at this room. Then you would be looking at Robichaud, where you loved him at Boston College. You got Jabari Small. He's a Tennessee guy, right? And then Sailor, they just picked up. This is why I think Vaki is, that Sailor's signing maybe kind of puts a little worry into it, right? Where they just signed Sailors, what was that, 2 days ago even? Where we might not have Vaki available, right? Like that would be the one thing. And then you'd be looking at like Robichaud and Small as the 2 best running back plays on this slate. If Vaki is in, Vaki could be the best running back play on the slate, but then it's not saying that much because you're still splitting it between 4 or 5 guys. So, yeah, I think that news, Bruce, is critical. And like you said, you were getting into it. That's like, I think the running back room kind of revolves around him.
Is he still playing defense as well?
I don't think he is. You know what? That's a great question. I didn't see that in anything I was reading yesterday that said that.
Man, I remember one game in college, he was playing defense and running back and just was doing everything so well. Like it just came out of nowhere, just one game, and he ran for like 100 yards, and it's crazy. He's such a good player. So yeah, if they only have four or 5 guys there, you at least have to look at it. I know Robichaud has looked really good in practice. There was a report he ran over like 2 or 3 guys in practice. He's a big dude, and plays like it. So I'm definitely going to have some of him for sure. He's a fun player. He should get a lot of run too. it depends on how much run Reynolds gets, but he's similar. He's a good blocker, good player. He'd probably end up being that third running back, but not 100% sure on that. Sailors, he's one of my UFL guys. He played for St. Louis in the UFL, and man, I'm rooting for him to make an NFL team just because he's one of my favorite players to watch. He can catch the ball really well. I just don't know how much he's going to get with 3 days of preparation. So it'll be fun to see, at least watch this game and prepare for the next Lions game that's on the slate. Small was really fun at Tennessee. He's a good back as well. So yeah, this Lions running back room is really good. I'll probably have a piece or two. Definitely prioritizing Robichaux as my guy.
Yeah, I like that call. I like him. I think Craig Reynolds is the one I'm definitely throwing out because they've seen him. They know what he is. Mm-hmm. It's the Hall of Fame game. I think they're going to want to look at some of these other guys. So he's probably the guy I'm out on. We had a few questions too. I did want to get there first. Philly saying, am I really seeing this? You guys are live for this. Hell yeah, we are. Rubio's the niche king, and Bruce shipped 50K 2 years ago on this slate, so or in preseason. So we're definitely live for this, and we'll have you covered the entire preseason for NFL. So come hang out whenever there's preseason. We'll be here. And then Juice had a question. Wanted to make sure I get to it here. There's going to be a whole lot of running in this game from the QBs. Bruce, what are your thoughts on fading the Chargers running backs?
Yeah, that's probably my most likely fade spot, just because I have so many guys. I'm not going to completely fade them, but I'll probably have less than other position groups just because there's so many. I mean, they could play 6 or 7 guys there. So let's see, they have 6 guys that could be active. So definitely a prime fade spot if you wanted to.
I like it. All right. Rubio, anything else here with the running backs?
No, I mean, I think that there is potential for news here. We'll grind in the Discord too to try and get that out there. I think Reynolds plays, but again, if they could be limited down to 3 bodies. There's a potential for that, right? Like even Talon Bray also mentions it too. Like, isn't Robichaux a danger to miss, right? Like, there is some lingering injuries with him and Vaki, right? Where just like they've missed practice in recent days. There is a chance that, those guys could kind of play a decent bit tonight. So, yeah, I think it's news dependent. If everyone is in, though, I'd probably be a little lighter on them because you look at this wide receiver spot here. We got the top 4 wide receivers out. I think the one thing that I read, Bruce, too, was that Tim Patrick is projected to miss this game, right, where it's just because he got a lot of work in their scrimmage. And if you got a lot of work in the scrimmage, that meant that you weren't playing in the preseason game, is what will kind of attest to. And with that, here we are again. It's a thin wide receiver room. It's only 7 guys. You got a lot of potential here with, their draft pick out of Arkansas, right? Tesla, and Dominic Lovett. You got Ronnie Bell, who has been a hero for us in the past in preseason. Tom Kennedy, who played pretty well for them last year. And then you kind of get into this range where if you know ball, which Bruce knows ball, he'll tell you all about Keeney, James, and Meeks and Taylor. I won't say anything about them because I don't know ball.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys I had to look up before the game, before the show. Keeney James was one of them. I kind of remembered his name from UMass last season. He had a couple of big games. One against Miami, Ohio. Ohio was probably the best defense in the MAC last year. He had 150 yards receiving against them, and he also had a 75-yard touchdown against Georgia. So, those are 2 really good defenses in college football, and he played pretty well against them. So he's a burner, just really fast and makes big plays. So you love to see that in preseason games. So I definitely have some interest there. Lovett and Meeks, those 2 guys are probably going to be underowned. I don't love Georgia receivers, and that's where those 2 guys come from. I think they're more big play guys too. So those are good, under the radar plays from Detroit's receivers, and they have good quarterbacks. So you just never know. I'm probably going to prioritize these guys over the Charger guys, but I think those two guys are solid too. Tesla, like you mentioned, he's good as well. He's a big play guy. First year in a new offense at Arkansas last year, so he kind of got overlooked, but he's a big playmaker.
Yeah, it feels like there could be a lot of plays in the wide receiver room for the Lions here. I like the Tesla call, like you said with Patrick. No way he was playing Patrick anyways. So again, he's another guy. He's been in the league. They know him. Raymond, same thing. So I like getting higher on these wide receivers. Rubio, what about you with the Lions receivers?
Yeah, it's like they've kind of played a flat, right? Like 35% is where you can kind of put these guys at, right? It's like, hey, if I think he plays a quarter and a half, right? That's kind of where you can kind of get at. And it's possible for all these guys. And look, that's kind of the floor for them. I think Tesla, you kind of worry just about draft capital kind of getting into him. Other rookies are sitting on their offensive line. Like, what was it? Like Rutledge or whatever, Ratledge and another offensive lineman are sitting, and both are probably going to be starters for them or whatever. But the rookie wide receiver, as Tesla, is going to be in. So if he gets 35, maybe 40% of the snaps, which is in the cards, right? Like they did a lot with Isaiah Williams last year, I believe, right? I think if you were to look at it where Isaiah Williams played a lot, obviously differing situation, right? Like not the same draft capital or anything like that, but there is kind of like food for thought where the Lions have been able to extend a guy past 50, 60% of the snaps. I don't think that'll happen to Tesla or anyone tonight, but it is worth noting that they kind of can branch above 40% a little bit. But I think they're good plays. Tesla is actually like one of my favorite plays because I think a lot of people do gravitate toward the running backs, and I don't know.
You just said that you don't know about him because of the draft capital. Well, now it's your favorite play.
I meant 40%.
Oh, okay.
I think he's safe for 35% or whatever. But I don't think he's going to play half the game or whatever. I think the only guy who I think has a chance to play over half the game is our guy Gazdin, right? Like he's the only one where I kind of look at it and I'm like, well, other than Trey Lance, of course, and Kyle Allen, but like if you were to get like 50% of the snaps, like it would be like, okay, I can see that. Everyone else, no. But there are teams like
especially because they have two veterans that will clearly start ahead of them. For now, he could definitely beat them out and just be better than. But for now, there's like two clear guys they have ahead of them that are vets. It's kind of like with Tesla, but even more like Tesla's got 4 vets. And I mean, I know that like Khalif Raymond, Tim Patrick, but these guys play like they played when they were out there for Campbell and stuff like they like those guys.
And it's also like worth noting too. Is that not Tesla? Is that not Tesla? What do you mean?
Tesla, I think is how you say it, or something.
Oh God, Tesla.
Who cares?
Who cares? Get out of here, Anthony.
Get out of here, old man.
Unbelievable.
I love this question though. The Spaniard asks, "Who's the best wide receiver to pair with Hooker? If Hooker starts the second half, would it be Tom Kennedy, Bruce? Like, would it be Ronnie Bell? Would you pair him up with Tesla and love it, or would you kind of go for more of that second half angle with like a guy like Kennedy or Keeney James or Ronnie Bell?
Man, that's rough. I know Lovett is getting a lot of buzz. I was reading the Athletic this morning. They thought that him and Tesla were going to have big games. So, man, I think I probably lean towards playing Kennedy. I just love watching him play. He's one of those lunch pail guys. So just love watching those kinds of guys. But yeah, I think Kennedy is where I'd go there.
I like it. Oh, you know what? Can you pronounce the Syracuse tight end's name for me, Bruce?
Gadsden.
Gadsden. So it's not Gadsden. Yeah. Okay, I added the extra.
Gadsden. I think I pronounced that.
You see how that's spelled, JS? If you scroll up, you can see where I kind of get into the handcuff there.
I get it. I get it. I've like
Gadsden.
I definitely like messed up his name once or twice too, but I said it enough where now I feel a little more confident when I say it. But
welcome to the
early
gas.
on.
I guess
That just tells me that you haven't been drafting enough in best ball. Unbelievable,
baby! It's the
unbelievable.
And
speaking of best ball, our partners at DraftKings, there will be another best ball week coming up very soon. I think it's the 18th to the 24th of August, and I'm sure they'll be doing some awesome stuff for best ball week. If you guys want to check out their best ball product, they got a massive $15 million prize pool, $2 million to first, $20 entry fee over on DraftKings. You can check that out. Get in on the drafting. You can draft pretty much whenever you want. All day, drafts are going on, and they've got all different contests too. So check the best ball product over on DraftKings out. All right. That is it for the wide receivers. Got to hit the tight ends and then the defense and kickers. Tight ends first, though. Rubio, no Laporta, no Wright. You did talk about it, though. This team does like to play some heavy sets. You got 3 more guys here. What are you doing with the tight ends?
Yeah, I mean, Bruce kind of mentioned it too earlier. I think like it was just in writing, but Yeboah is a decent wide receiver. I could up their projections just slightly, because I kind of nuke the tight ends a little bit, because if you look at a lot of tight ends in preseason slates, there's a lot of underwhelming performances. But yeah, Kenny Yeboah, he is a good receiving tight end a little bit, Bruce, according to your notes. And then you look at Zylstra. I've always thought highly of Zylstra a little bit, and I do think he is the most talented of these 3. And there's the path to 45% of the snaps, right? Like, look, do I sound like a nerd kind of putting out these snaps like shares? Yes. But I think it's the easiest way to kind of project out how much these guys will play. And if they do play, is that enough? And I think with Zylstra, Yeboah, and Horton, you could have 3 guys play above 40% of the snaps. All 3 of them could. Is there a path to above 50% for one of these guys? I think the answer is yes. And it could be Yeboah or it could be Zylstra. I think they are more in play, and I think Yeboah is going to get a slight buff in projections here shortly.
All right. Might have to add a little Yeboah into the old player pool here. Bruce, what are you doing with the tight ends? You playing a little Yeboah?
Yeah, I like both of those guys. Zylstra's, he's done it in the NFL on this level, has 4 touchdowns in his career. And Yeboah was good in college at Ole Miss, and with the Jets last year, I think he caught a touchdown too. So yeah, both of those guys are good. They also have Zach Horton, who was at Indiana last year, more of a blocking guy. So could only be those 3 guys. So I mean, those guys are going to be on the field. The opportunity should be there. So got to at least consider them, mix them in. I'm probably going to have about 10 lineups tonight. I may just have to mix those guys in.
All right. I like it. Let's get to the kicker and defense. Bruce, stay with you here. Lions, Jake Bates. You like the kicker, Mr. Dicker on the Chargers. Do you like the kicker over the defense here with the Lions?
I like the Lions defense a little bit more, just because what you have that quarterback on the other side in Lance and DJU. So, but Bates can hit from distance. He was I watched him a lot in the UFL. He was on the Michigan Panthers and was nailing them from 63, 64. So yeah, he's definitely got some distance. It's a tough choice, but kind of lean Lions defense there. But like I said, he can definitely hit it from deep.
All right. So you like the kicker from the Chargers and the defense from the Lions the most. Rubio, I know you like the kicker from the Chargers too. What about the Lions kicker?
Yeah, I think you can really kind of like master combining Bates and Dicker together here. I think that's going to be a really popular combo, because it's not usual where it's like, oh, you just have like one kicker in. But if you see points in any capacity, if you see these teams kind of being able to kind of push the ball a little bit down the field, well, 4-point field goal is the same as or 40-yard field goal is the same as a 4-point passing touchdown, right? Like, you just look at it that way. It's like the path to getting to 7 is very, very attainable for both those guys, and both these guys have a leg. I don't think Campbell is going to be like uber aggressive, 4th and 3 from the 35. I'm gonna go for it on 4th down or whatever. Like, I like both kickers tonight. Like, it's just the reality of it, and I'm not usually someone who's just gonna like jump out my seat for him, but I think if there's points, you take them. And the points are usually great for kickers. I mean, even those like really high scoring games, JSU, where it's like, if you look in the past, I want to say like some of those games where it's like 45, 35 or 38 or whatever, those kickers can quietly add up to like, 11, 12 fantasy points. They're usually kind of undervalued, especially when they're the only ones kind of playing on this slate, right? Like, they're the only guy who is like not competing with anyone else at the position. So 7 fantasy points is the goal. I wouldn't go out of my way to like jam them in every lineup, but I'll probably have one in most, if not all.
All right. There we go. That is everybody on the slate. I think we've dove in plenty. We are going to give our favorite plays. Jay just asked for our favorite captain's plays. So we'll throw that in with our favorite plays of the day. Before that, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and check out runpuresports.com. Like I said before, JBC 100K win gets you a free week at Run Pure Sports. You do have to sign up for a monthly package, but any monthly package, JBC 100K win gets you a free week. You come check out all the tools, content, get in the Discord. Discord is one of the best things we have at Run Pure Sports because it's so valuable, so much information, sharp minds, talking DFS all throughout the day. Get in the Discord. And Rubio, Matt was talking about the preseason, how the snaps and the data and the usage is quite valuable and how they approach the preseason. And that's kind of why you wanted to add that snap count page with the usage stuff and the information so people kind of have an idea of how different coaches play the preseason.
Yeah, and it's like, look, like obviously it's a preseason game, like Matt says there, so it's like not the gospel or anything like that at all. And we do have like a position availability, which is like a huge thing, right? Because obviously I really like the idea where you can see that the Chargers had 3 running backs last year and you were playing them, right? Not with 6. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think if you were to look at previous years, you can kind of get a sense of how coaches will approach certain, preseason games. And obviously the Hall of Fame game is the one outlier, but if you really look at preseason week 1, how many teams are really going to differ over previous years? The Bengals are going to be the only team that are like spoken about that, who are like, yeah, we got to play our starters more. Everyone else will probably be more of the same as long as they have the same coaching staff of the previous year.
Yep. There we go. All right, boys, let's give our favorite plays. You got to give your favorite captain's play as well. Maybe a favorite low owned gem as well. We can throw to that list. So favorite captain play, and then your favorite low owned gem. Ruby, I'll start with you because we got to save the best for last. So we got to save Bruce for last. So we'll start with you.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're playing captain tonight, right? Or if you're like, hey, who am I going to play captain? You'd be kind of foolish not to give Trey Lance the longest look, right? Where Hooker can outscore him, the defense can outscore him, but he's got a mammoth projection for a preseason slate. He outprojects the next closest guy, which is Hooker at 10-9. I think Lance is going to be the guy at captain. I don't really want to get too different from that. He is guaranteed, over a half of football. He was really good for fantasy last year. He wasn't really good for his football team. That's really all that matters, right? Not getting any different there. He'll probably be the highest owned captain in the world. And that's why the second play, we want to get a little lower owned than that, right? We don't want to stick with, saying Hendon Hooker for our low end gem or anything. So if I had to push came to shove, JSU, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go with an old reliable, right? Someone who we have done really well in the past. I think he even won a tournament on FanDuel when we were at Churchill Downs. Ronnie Bell. I'm going to go Ronnie Bell as my guy. I'm going to pair him with a lot of Hendon Hooker, and I think Bell gets a pretty long look tonight, 33, 35% of the snaps or whatever is kind of where I'm projecting it at. He'll be paired with Hooker, right? That's the hope, is that if Hooker opens up the third quarter, that Bell could be one of those wide receivers who gets significant playing time with him. So Bell is my guy.
All right, Ronnie Bell. Yeah, YSN. I just dropped the code in the chat, so that should work. If you have any issues, you can email info@runpuresports.com, and we will get you. We'll get you figured out. We'll make sure it works. So, if that doesn't work, email info@runpuresports.com or hit us up on Twitter, runpuresports on Twitter, and our guy Captain or Wiley or Rubio will get you guys figured out. So, but that should work. let us know. All right, Bruce. I'm playing Gadsden. That's going to be my guy. I'm going to shove him in. I like Hendon Hooker, though, in the top spot. I think everyone's going to play Trey Lance. I'm going to go to Hooker. I think Hooker's just a solid quarterback. He might not have as much of the upside as Trey Lance does, but I think he has enough to where he can easily outscore him. So I'm going to go with him. Bruce, where are you going for captain and then your low-owned play?
Yeah, I love that Hooker call. I'm gonna stick with Lance in the captain spot, but I'm gonna have plenty of Hooker as well. I think I think he has a possibility of outscoring Lance for sure. So and Kyle Allen has actually looked good too. So I'm probably gonna divide my captain spot up there. My favorite play, I do like Gadsden as well, but man, I'm kind of talking myself into playing some Dominic Lovett, and Jaquay Jackson. Probably those two guys. I know it's kind of cheap to give you two, but I like those two guys as like low-owned guys for the slate tonight.
I love that. And our guy StatStational, if you enjoyed the MLB boom report that he's been doing on a daily basis for the MLB streets, he's going to be bringing that to football for this season of NFL. I think regular season, he'll start it out. So if you enjoyed that content, he's going to bring it to the NFL. So I hope you guys will enjoy that as well. I'm sure it's going to be awesome, just like the MLB boom report that he does on a daily basis. So check that out. And glad that it works. So there we go. I did post the code in the chat. This is it. JBC 100K win. That should work. Get you a free week if you sign up for any monthly package. And that's going to do it for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Hope you enjoyed the Hall of Fame game tonight. Good luck in your DraftKings, DFS, and bets over on DK Sportsbook. Check us out tomorrow. I'll be doing a best ball show, 12 p.m. Eastern time, drafting on DraftKings, maybe with Wiley, maybe with Rubio, maybe by myself. We'll see what happens. I don't even know what's going to happen, but I'll be there drafting. So come hang out with me. Until then, enjoy your DraftKings DFS tonight. For Rubio, Bruce, and myself, good luck. We'll see you guys later. We're out. Peace.